my name is Suzanne. I'm with Keithley, Savannah.
Suzanne's a wholesaler, if anyone's looking for deals. So we have a tradition here. We want to start out with wins and wants. So I know many of y'all have done some really great things since we met. It's been over a month, right, since we were here previously. So anyone have a win for this month, real estate wise? Chandler's pointing at someone. Dennis? Do you have a win?
No, it's an old one.
He did announce it, the one. What is Dennis's win, Chandler?
What?
What is his win?
Which one? Yeah, it's old one, right?
What?
I got a win. This is my first time here.
There you go. Welcome.
My name's Ryan. I'd like to meet you guys with me as well, so it's their first time.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Welcome. Ryan is an agent in town. He's new. Chandler and I got to meet him at Bigger Pockets. That's probably my biggest win, huh, Chandler? We were at Bigger Pockets last week, and it was so much fun. Was anyone else here at Bigger Pockets other than myself and Chandler? Y'all, it was in Orlando. It was so close, and every one of y'all should have been there. It was so wonderful. It was just filled with just really great people. I didn't meet any neighbors. Anyone else? Everyone was awesome. Like, literally everyone was awesome. I was like, these are my people. So that's definitely my win. Anybody else? Anybody got anything under contract? I know it's a tough one. Daniel!
I finally got my triplex listed.
Where is John? Yes. You know, John's been wanting a triplex for months, and he's been telling us October he was going to buy a triplex. So we need John at this meetup. Where is John? The one night we have a triplex.
Yeah, you know, you want to score something tonight. It's the
Talk cash flow numbers.
cheapest triplex on the West End.
And I don't know if people know that, but the Fannie Mae has a new loan out there right now that if you occupy one of the apartment, you only can put 5% down.
That's true.
Yeah.
Someone in this room needs to buy Daniel's triplex with a Fannie Mae loan.
Fully rehabbed.
What is the gross rental amount monthly once it's tenanted for your triplex, Daniel? We like to hear rent numbers.
We got a max of 5,000. We got a range, but the max is 5,000.
And a triplex for $479 turnkey. I have been in it actually. It's great. Where's Mike?
It's in the bathroom.
Oh. I'm like, why is it so quiet? I'm kidding. And it's in Garden City. And in Garden City, there's no short-term rental laws. So that's another thing.
57 Ronald Avenue.
57 rental. Awesome. Anybody else have a win? We don't want to miss out on all the good things happening in this group. OMG, we were just talking about you. We're talking about a triplex up for sale, Mike. Okay. What about wants? Who in here wants something, and what is it that you want, real estate wise?
Looking for partners who want to do business.
Okay.
And I think it's better to get a piece of the deal as opposed to getting one thing if you can't get the same thing.
Good. Are you the money guy or are you the work guy? Which partner are you?
I can do a little bit of both.
Okay. Wow. So we got a partner. That's fantastic. You know, there's all different ways to buy real estate. Absolutely. So we got someone looking for a partner. Any special asset class that you're wanting to buy? You got to call it out.
I own multifamily. I own one multifamily down in Hot and Brotherhood. So I'm looking to buy either Savannah, live Savannah, buy Savannah, or anywhere around here.
Very good.
I have a triplex, so.
Yeah. Get a partner. Buy Daniel's triplex. Exactly. I want to tell you something. I was at this really fantastic mastermind in Mexico last month, and we talked about goals. And this lady described it in a way I'd never thought about. And we're going to talk about it next month because we're doing goal setting at our meetup. But she said, your goals need to be so clear. Okay? Tell me your name. Joshua. I love that name. Your goal needs to be so clear that you can see it, you can smell it, you can taste it, you can feel it. And so she had us write our goals in that way. And she said, if you can get your goals out there into the universe and you really believe this, you can see it, you can taste it, you can feel yourself working on it or whatever. I always picture myself painting. I've painted my own rentals for years. I really like to paint. So I'm sitting there picturing myself painting this giant property, things like that. And I thought it was very powerful. And this lady had always had a goal of having a child, and she had just had a child at 52. And she said, I always knew I would have a child, didn't know how, when, where, what, but I would just think about it and think of, so I want to encourage you on that, Joshua. And all of you guys, like, we're all here because we want real estate, right? We all have that goal. That's a very general goal. I've had the goal for a while. I want big purchases. I'm done with single families. I'm done with small ones. I want big. And that came true for me this year. I'm really proud of that. So be very mindful of what you wish for, because you're going to get it, you know. So that's what we're all here to do. I'm talking too much, Suzanne. The smart one needs to talk.
Well, I have one. We're actually selling our portfolio of rentals. It's 7 doors. It's going to be on seller financing. It's early stages. We're still working out the numbers, but it's looking like it's going to be about maybe $100,000 down for 7 doors. So if anybody's interested, you can come talk to me afterwards. It's already fully tenanted. It has a mortgage, existing mortgage, so it's fully up and running.
And they can assume the mortgage? Okay.
What's in the portfolio?
Okay, we need details.
Yeah, so it's 2 single families, a triplex, and a duplex. 4 properties.
What's the gross run?
I'll give you more details. I have to work through the numbers, but it's still early stages with you.
How much leverage do you own the property?
What was that?
How much leverage do you own the property?
We're refinanced 70% of the ARV.
Someone needs to be, every one of you need to be shutting Suzanne up and get her your name and number, email, and she'll email you the details. I know she will. So $100,000 down, 7 properties, you can assume the financing, they're fully tenanted. And the tenants are good tenants, right? She's not selling because the tenants aren't paying or anything. You have rent rolls, all of that.
Yeah.
That's a good ask. I might have to talk to you myself.
Seller financing or assumable financing?
So you're going to be assuming the existing mortgages, and then on our equity part, we're going to be seller financing our equity.
So if it's $1 million, you'll have 900 debt, but it might be several different debtors, and then $100,000. Maybe 10 million. Say 10 million.
We still have to work through our numbers.
Good. So somebody needs to get that information out. Very good. We have a very special guest speaker tonight. We're going to talk about personal safety, and it was episode 2, right? That you were on, Suzanne? Joshua Savannah podcast, if anyone does not know about it. We have a podcast about local investing. Suzanne was on episode 2, and I just very unplanned turned into safety. We talked about safety because I'm obviously a female real estate investor, and Suzanne is as well. And I don't rarely get into conversations like that. And I said, hey, do you ever worry about your safety? And she's like, yeah. And I said, I do too. Because I'm in these crazy places all the time by myself. And there's been so many times when I'm like, I really wish someone was here. Like, that would be really great. It always turns out great. The worst thing that's happened to me is I've gotten fleas. But, you know, I haven't actually died. I have come away with fleas several times. So that led me to say, you know what? We want to have a different learning topic every month. We want you guys to socialize and network and make deals. Please do that. We're going to try to have more time for networking and just not too much on the presentation, but we do want to have a solid presentation. But I'm going to talk about safety. And so one of my husband's best friend is a police captain in Savannah or something. I'm not good with those titles, but I called him, and as soon as I said, Joey, I really need a guy that can teach personal safety. And he said, Gary is the guy. He's the only guy. He teaches the police. He teaches everyone else. And we have with us Gary Glimboski, and he is the director of global tactical training. He was a police officer for many years, by my understanding. He now trains police officers. He trains all different people, walks of life. So he's going to cover personal safety. He's going to cover gun safety, which is so important. I'm sure many of you carry. And you know, I don't worry about gun safety because I don't carry one, but I would love more information on personal safety because you just never know when you're going to need it. And it is my hope that none of you need what Gary has to say, but maybe in the future, if you do, you're going to be like, thank God I went to that meetup and I've got I bought 7 properties and I learned how to defend myself when this guy jumped out of the closet at me, so this could really be a very big win for all of you guys, so anyway, I just want, please help me welcome Gary Bowman. I know that's a Gary.
So I'm going to make somebody in here mad before I get finished saying what I've got to say. Trust me, right? So, I spent a little bit of time on police department. A little over a year and a half ago, I retired for the 3rd time. I had 43 total years law enforcement here in Savannah. 27 years with the city. Retired in 2009. Became the chief of police. Had a hunter. Was out there for 10 years, and then I was with the Board of Education police department for about 3, doing various things. But when I was with the city, among other duties, I ran a. Anyone here watch Chicago PD? All right, that was my unit here in Savannah. Okay, we did the same thing except we didn't kill people and burn them and film and pitch all that. But that was kind of what I did for the majority of my career. I was on the SWAT team for 25 years. I ran it for 12. Did all security for the Olympics, G8, all that stuff. I ran the training unit for the police department for about 4.5 years, and of course, as the chief of police, took over kind of a new role, probably the hardest thing I've ever done. Went from being operational to being administrative, and that was kind of tough. But like I said, back in a couple, 3 years ago, about a little over 2 years ago, I decided it was time. It wasn't any fun anymore, and I got out of it. So this stuff I've been doing for about 55 years. All right, so I just celebrated my 70th trip around the sun about 2 weeks ago. So I started martial arts training in 1968. And over a period of time, people would say, oh, you can teach some self-defense, and one thing led to another, and I came on the police department and got into guns, and here we are, 55 years later. So when people talk about self-defense and personal protection, everybody's got a different definition. If I asked everybody in here what you thought self-defense was, you have your own idea. This is kind of what it entails. There's a whole lot of things that people, I think, don't really pay attention to when they're talking about self-defense. They're talking about personal protection. Well, I'm going to go get a gun, or I'm going to go get pepper spray, or whatever the case may be. That's fine. But here's where I start making people mad. I don't want to know who's got a permit, who's got a gun, or anything. It doesn't make any difference to me. I assume everybody in here has one. That served me well on the street as a police officer. I always made the assumption that people were armed. So that way I was never surprised. The problem is, people go out and buy a gun because, for a number of reasons, I want to feel protected, I want to feel safe, and all that feeling is really nice. It does you zero good, though. You can feel however you want to feel. I don't care. All right? But are you ready to utilize whatever tool you decide to use, whether it be pepper spray or a firearm? Are you willing to use that? Have you really thought about what happens when you actually get in a physical conflict with somebody? Now, in my career, as a martial artist, I was a full contact fighter. Back before anybody even knew what MMA was, the UFC wasn't even invented. I fought for the Professional Karate Association at full contact light heavyweight fighters. And I was a world-rated fighter for a number of years. On the street, as a police officer, you can imagine, I got my fair share of scrapes. But everything was a learning experience. It took all that information and kept turning it over, and found out what worked for me well, and has stood me well for over 50 years, may not work for y'all. So stuff that we teach encompasses all of this stuff here. So we're going to go over a few things here. So we're going to blow through pretty easy, but so that we're going to spend a little bit more time on. So definitions of self-defense, again, vary. This was a set of action strategies that the individual will use to protect themselves. That's pretty basic, and that's true. It's also about using force. One of the big things here on the law enforcement side for a number of years now, there's always been a liability thing. Back when I came through the police academy in 1978, one of my instructors named Maurice Watkins was preaching liability. This is 1978. All right? Nothing's changed since 1978. Okay, you go to the academy, they're still preaching liability, use of force. You guys watch television, you know what happens when police officers touch people. And people don't like it. Unfortunately, some people just need to be hit. Other people need to be shot. That's just the nature of the game. People do bad things, and sometimes they get in a position where nothing will de-escalate the situation other than some kind of physical, touching, or like I said, shooting people is a de-escalation. Some people think that's, I'm making a joke. That is true, though. If I shoot you, you're probably going to de-escalate pretty fast. All right? So you have to think about using that level of force when you defend yourself. Now, fortunately, most self-defense, you're not going to get involved with that in a physical confrontation. I will tell you, this will get you into and out of more scrapes than anything else. And if you know how to talk to somebody, or not talk, not get engaged, you could probably be all right for the rest of your life. I spent 43 years on the street and never had to shoot anybody. That's a win. Okay? I had a want for 3 days when one of my friends was murdered right over here in this parking lot over by the bus station. Okay? I wanted to find that person, and I wanted to kill him. Trust me when I tell you that. If I'd have found him before his attorney did, he probably would have been dead. But he is now, so it's okay. All right? So, over a period of time, what I find is that if you want to not get involved in a situation, don't be there. All right? Like I said, if I knew there was going to be a gunfight here at 8 o'clock, guess where Gary would be? Someplace else. Okay? I'm just going to tell you, it's not, people say, well, I just do this and I do this. Well, Mike Tyson has one of the best quotes ever, and I use them all the time, and I'll give him credit for it. You know what I'm going to say? That's everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. Right? Everybody thinks they know what they're going to do. Oh, I would just fill in the blank. If I was a cop, I would. How many times do you think I've heard that in 43 years? And again, most people don't know what they're talking about. Never been involved in a really dire physical confrontation, you have no idea what you're going to do. And even if you have, you probably still don't know what you're going to do, because every situation is going to be different. Right? And if you're armed, that makes it even worse, because a lot of people will think, well, I got a gun, I'll just pull my gun. Okay. In the state of Georgia, that might get you a lot of prison time. Right? Because the use of force has got to be somewhat equitable. Right? It's got to be relatively, if a guy comes up and pokes his finger in your chest and he's just drunk, and you draw your gun on him, you're going to jail. Trust me when I tell you that. Okay? At least you're going to get arrested. Right? So, you got to get out of this mindset about just because I have a hammer, everything looks like a nail kind of thing. Right? You got to be a little bit more diverse as far as tools and skills and everything like that. Now, a lot of people get cranked up when I say, well, I don't have time to do all this training. Well, that's true. I get it. I mean, obviously, from what you guys were just talking about, way over my head, okay? You don't have the time to spend that I've spent over the last 55 years getting to where I'm at. And I would train 6 days a week, 6 hours a day. Anybody here do that? I don't think so. All right? So, I can't make you a third-degree monkey ninja black belt SEAL Team 6 person in 6 hours. It takes me 12 hours to get you to that level, okay? But a little bit at a time, think about what you want to do, and then visualize, where you want to be. You'll get there eventually, all right? So, the situational environmental awareness, a lot of people throw it out there, and really a lot of people don't pay any attention to it. What does that mean? How many people in here have a cell phone? That's a joke. All right, how do you have more than one cell phone? How many of you see people walk around all the time like this? They are not situationally nor environmentally aware. They're going to fall in an open manhole somewhere. They're the ones going to fall in a fountain somewhere. They're the ones going to get run over by a truck. Right? Shallow up the gene pool, everything's going to be okay. Darwin Award winners, let them go. Right? You need to be aware. If you see something and it looks fishy, what are you going to do? Well, I'm just going to go over here. I got a gun. I got pepper spray. No. Walk across the street, go around and leave it alone. A friend of mine named John Farnham has a rule. He says, don't go to stupid places with stupid people and do stupid things and be in your own bed by 10:30 and you'll be okay. He's 100% right. I've been following that for a number of years, and guess what? I still have most of my points, most of the original points, right? So if you're not being aware, if you're not looking and seeing what's going on around you, you can't process the information. You can't process information that may save your life or life of your family. So which one are you? Are you the meerkat? I love meerkats. I have cats at the house, and they all do that. Are you this guy? I'd be willing to bet that most people that you know are the officers. Out of sight, out of mind. That will never happen here. I'm not going to worry about it. Don't worry about it. No. They just forget it. Hope it doesn't happen. Hope is not a plan. It's not a strategy. It's kind of like, well, I feel safe. Big deal. Feel safe. What makes you feel safe? You have burglar alarms, you have motion sensors, you have a guard dog, you have retired SEAL Team 6 guy, on your porch. That's why you feel safe. You feel safe. Okay? Or like you live in a pretty nice neighborhood and it's a gated community and we don't have any crime here. Right? That kind of feel. I don't live in a gated community. We live in a house we've been living in now for about 20 years, and it's a one-way in, one-way out. Everybody knows everybody. About 60 houses in there. And since we've lived there, I've only seen a police car 5 times. One time, they came to my house for a specific reason. Another time, 2 other times, the U.S. Marshals were picking up a murder suspect 2 houses down from there. Well, that was pretty interesting. Because he had just come over to my house 2 days before and asked me if he could take some limbs off one of my trees for a wedding they were having. And then just the other night, there was a police officer in the neighborhood over the call. Is there crime there? Yeah, there's absolutely crime there. Nothing serious, other than some property crime and people leaving doors open, leaving stuff out, people come in and stealing it. I feel pretty safe, but I do a lot on my own to make sure I feel that way. So, anybody here ever heard of the OODA loop? Okay, nobody's ever heard of the OODA loop. You guys need to know what this is, right? So this was developed by a guy named Colonel John Boyd, who was a jet fighter pilot during the Korean War, and he used to shoot a bunch of people down because he broke this down. This was his original diagram, so a lot of people simplify it. We'll see a simple version in just a second. But the idea was that observe, orient, decide, and act. Everything that you do on a daily basis, you do this. Okay? You don't just stumble on something, just make something happen. You observe what's going on. What do I need to do? What's on the table? All right? You orient yourself, and that could be a lot of different things. In a jet fighter, you have to orient yourself, obviously, to get above and behind the bad guy, to shoot him down. Then you decide, okay, I'm going to pull the trigger, and then you do it. Right? So that happens really fast, and you can see all the feedback loops and the decision hypothesis and all that stuff that goes on. But here's where people have narrowed it down to. It is pretty good. So now, if I can interrupt that loop at any point, I can send you right back to the beginning and you have to go back and start all over again. So when you're defending yourself, if somebody's, say like you're walking down the street and you see somebody down the street and they're giving you the stink eye, and you go, I don't like the way that looks, and you just cross the street. Or you stop and go inside a store or whatever the case may be, you're interrupting his OODA loop, and now he has to change what he's doing. And you're going to notice that. And you want to have a little bit more control. There's another one that I use, it's called PAFI, P-A-F-I, perceive, analyze, formulate, initiate. It's the same thing, different author, but that is, we do this every day. We don't realize we do it, but that's what happens all the time. All right? So, depending on what you do, I always recommend that you do a threat assessment. And what do you do on a daily basis? What's your normal, everyday thing? Get up in the morning, have coffee, read the paper, take a shower, whatever you do, go to work, come home, go to the store, go to school, whatever it is. And think about all that. Where are you most vulnerable? Where are you going to be most vulnerable? Right? A lot of people don't even think about it. What do you think is the most, you guys are in real estate, right? So what is the most dangerous piece of real estate in the United States?
White House.
Huh?
The White House.
The White House.
It's where all the crazy people
The
go.
place got out from a little bit today, though. I'm kind of happy. Walmart parking lot. All right?
What?
Walmart parking lot. Okay? Walmart has 115 attorneys just working on criminal cases that occur on their properties. So Walmart, Target, Family Dollar, any place, anything like that where there's transition areas, parking lots, that's where a lot of robberies happen. We hear street crime, right? Anybody know about the shooting that was just happened down here the other night? Right down the street, 2 blocks. I can tell you stories about every corner around here. Okay. So, there's no way you can predict where, when, how the attack's going to happen. Who gets to decide that? Bad guy. Who gets to vote? Okay. You're always going to be working behind the power curve a little bit. But by being prepared and being dialed in, having a plan, makes it a little bit easier. You can react a little bit quicker. You got to be a little bit preemptive sometimes. So, we want to try and avoid the situation if at all possible. So you say, well, wait a minute, what if a guy comes up to me and starts poking his finger in my chest? Okay, you're in a stupid place, number one, all right? So you violated one of the rules, all right? So what do? How do you de-escalate something like that? What do you think? Somebody comes up, and you're just out at Longhorn, you're sitting at the bar, you're waiting for dinner, and you're having a beer, and this guy comes up and goes, hey, man! Pokes you in the shoulder. What do you do? Happens every day.
Find out what's going on.
So what would you say? I come up and I poke you. And what would you do?
I'd probably say,
See? There you go.
am I mistaking you? Is it something like that?
So there's a whole lot that's on the right track, all right? So there's a guy that came, they did an old guy. This old guy, this guy's older than me, man. And it was pretty funny. And he said, well, what would you do? And he got a whole bunch of hard guys in his class like this, and they're all like, I was pounding in the sand, you know? He says, hey, man, that's a nice shirt. Where'd you get that shirt? Totally get inside his Uber loop. He's going, what? What are you talking shirt? You go, yeah, man, I've been looking for one just like that. Where'd you get that? And you take him a whole different way. Or, the one I personally like, same thing, and the guy goes, what's your problem, man? He goes, man, I'm sorry. I apologize. My daddy just passed away, and I'm not right. Whoa! See what I'm saying? Now, if you really want to be slick, what you're doing at the same time when you're doing that is you're putting yourself in a better tactical position, so in case that doesn't work, you can hit him with a bar stool, all right, or whatever. And you see Farnham's rule there: don't go to stupid places, stupid people do stupid things. But that's not always possible. One of the things that you see in self-defense classes is poke him in the eye, hit him in the throat, kick him in the groin, and then run. Well, how many people here run on a daily basis? High heel shoes. All right. Sometimes you can't run. I'm a runner. Okay, in my dreams. Yeah, I mean, I used to be a runner. I used to run 3 miles every day. But then the 2 new hips and new knee kind of took that off the table. The doctor said I could still run. He says, I just can't guarantee the parts for 30 years. I'll work it out. All right? So, learning soft skills was really, really valuable. I think as I got older, I put a little bit more emphasis on the soft skills, so I don't want to get in a fight. Number one, I get hurt easier, all right? And it takes me longer to heal. And it costs a lot of money. Doctors are more expensive. All right? So, we talk about color codes and what, something about that. So, condition white. So, this is when you're in your house, in your tub, having some wine, whatever the case may be, everything's chilled out, and you don't have to worry about it. Nobody's going to hurt you here. Okay? But, anytime you leave your house, you should be in condition yellow. You should be looking at what's going on around you and paying attention to everything. So when you go down the street, how many people drive down 204 Evercorn every day? Okay, so you got people going 70 miles an hour, 3 feet from your door, you have no idea how skilled a driver they are. That's why I love watching NASCAR. 200 miles an hour, 6 inches apart, banging into each other, and they're just going, woo, hey, Bob, that's going on, bro. Yeah, okay, bro. A whole different scenario, right? But you don't know who's driving next to you. They're probably on their cell phone or reading the paper anyway. Right? So they're in condition white minus. They're way down the other end, right? So pay attention to what's going on around you all the time. Pay attention. Stay off the cell phone. Keep your head up. See what you're looking at. If you see something that's a potential threat, you can start your plan by avoiding it. At least you're aware that there's a threat. Say, there's something standing in the way between me and the door, but that's the only way out. Then you start formulating a plan. What am I going to do? Is there another way out? Is there somebody here to help me? If I get in trouble, you see it all the time. You see videos on TV all the time, or you're looking at Facebook, you see videos. I get stuff sent to me from different groups all the time about from surveillance cameras, people attacking other people. It happens that fast. People don't believe me when I say, you're not going to have time. Well, guys, if he throws a punch at me, you're not going to see it coming. Right? If I'm going to hit you, it's like, I know everybody watches movies and TV and everything. Bad guys always come up in front of you, point the gun at you, and they start talking to you, they start lecturing you. Well, I'm going to do this. I really don't want to do this, but I'm going to shoot you. Shoot him. Get it over with. All right? If somebody wants to shoot you, guess what you can do about that? Nothing. All right? If somebody wants to get you, you're going to get got. It's that simple. There's an old martial arts saying that even a master can be a victim of circumstance. So I don't care how good you are or what you do, there's always a possibility. Nobody in here is John Wick. And even John Wick follows well. Right? Even John Wick gets hit once in a while. So you've got to be aware of what's going on around you in order to take appropriate action. And then if you're in condition red, then you're engaged. Okay, you're doing something, you're engaged with this. There's another one that the Marine Corps used to use, condition black, which is kind of an overload. Remember back in the day when we first started doing computers and you got that blue circle of death? The computer got overloaded and it got too much input and it didn't know what to do. They just got rid of it. They just started spinning. That's what condition black is. Okay, it's like, I don't know what to do. You're done, right? You become lunch meat for somebody's sandwich. So there's a ton of different things you can do. All right. So everybody thinks law enforcement side of the house, I know, tries to get on the technology bandwagon and say, well, let's use all this cool stuff, and that way we will never have to touch anybody. All right. Now, I got off the Savannah Police Department right before we got tasers. And I can tell you that during my time on the street, I wish we'd have had them. All right? I'd have probably wore mine out. But the problem is they don't work all the time. All right? As a matter of fact, they only work about half the time. Okay? Taser and all the people that sell taser-like products will tell you, these are great, man, these work. They don't work all the time. Just anybody here watch On Patrol Live on Friday and Saturday night? Watch On Patrol Live, it's on Reels. Watch it, right? Actual real time, eight or nine different agencies all over the country, and they're tasing people all the time, and people go, taser? So what? Pretty interesting. Same thing with pepper spray. Okay? Pepper spray has no knockdown power. I've been pepper sprayed, and I can tell you, it's nasty, I don't like it, it's uncomfortable, but it doesn't cripple me. It doesn't knock me on the ground. Okay?
What about hair spray?
Doesn't make any difference. Doesn't make any difference. Okay? And hornet spray is even worse because that's a carcinogen, and if you spray somebody with it, you're going to get charged with aggravated assault. Just an FYI. And it doesn't work anyway. Okay? So, palm spray or saber red are the two best pepper sprays on the market. They're really hot, and they work as well as any of them do, but those are the two best ones that I recommend. Coumatons. Okay, so this was developed by a guy from the Los Angeles Police Department back in the 70s. And it's a keychain, basically. And it's used for passive resistors. You paint compliance techniques and some risk things. And it's a whole system based around it. Works pretty good. The way we teach it, the thing that looks like the American flag is called a muño. It's a little flat polycarbonate thing and fits in your hand really well. It's really good for women. And I teach people how to use this thing just like this. And put it in your hand and hit people really, really hard with whatever they're going to give you. So he reaches their hand out, hit him on the hand. Okay? Hit him in the face, hit him in the chest, hit him wherever you can get. Just hit him with it. Okay? Don't worry about swiping with the keys. Just hit him with the hard end of the stick. All right? It may give you enough of a chance to get some distance and get something else into the fight. Okay? Most gunfights start out as fist fights. All right? So people say, well, what am I doing? Do you ever watch this TV, you've seen the beginning of Gunsmoke, right, where Matt Dillon steps out, 20 feet apart, and draw a fire. Never happened. It never happened in the real West. There's no documented case of two people facing off in the middle of the street shooting each other. How did they do it? How did Jesse James, Bill Cody, Billy the Kid, how did they all die? You know, history. People just walked up behind him and shot him in the back of the head. Why would you face a guy that killed 20 people in a fair fight? If you're in a fair fight, you're probably losing. Trust me when I tell you that. If you're not cheating, you're not biting and scraping and poking people in the eye and hitting them in the throat and all that stuff, you're not in a fight. Right? Knives. I'm a knife guy. I love knives. I probably have way too many, but I can say the same thing about my guns. But they were all lost in a tragic boating accident. But carrying a knife with you, it's not like you're going to get in a knife duel because you don't see many of those. Go on YouTube and just look for knife attacks. Right? See what happens. You're not going to see two guys squaring off. You get this romantic vision of Jim Bowie on the sandbar with his knife and dueling. And if you ever read the account of that incident that made the Bowie knife famous, it was crazy. People were getting shot, stabbed, swords. There was all kinds of stuff going on. Bowie got wounded twice and wound up killing one guy, and another guy got shot and killed. But it wasn't a knife duel. Okay? And he was never involved in any of that stuff. So we've got to get that romantic side of this fight thing out of our head. Fighting is nasty, it's dirty, it's dangerous. There's a good chance even if you win, you're probably going to wind up getting hurt anyway. Contact weapons like the short, extendable tongues, I like them a lot. You carry them around, they're not bulky or heavy. The problem is, you've got to learn how to hit with it, because just because you hit somebody with that, I've got a scar in my head where I got hit with a baton. Matter of fact, I did twice, as a matter of fact. Once on top of the head, another time there, and it hurt, but it didn't knock me out. You say, well, you got a hard hit. Yeah, I don't know. But got hit with a baton twice, and you wound up losing the fight. So we get to guns. Guns are good. Okay? None of my guns have ever shot anybody. My guns mind their own business. They only do what they're told to do. I tell you, just like your car, you get in your car, you tell it to do, you have interface with it, the steering wheel, the gas pedal, the brake, right? You tell it what to do and it does its thing, right? It doesn't just go off by itself. You don't have one. Nobody here's got one of those cars, do you? It doesn't go off by itself willy-nilly and just start running over people. Right? So guns are the same way. A lot of people out there are against guns and guns are bad and guns cause all the violence. Guns cause nothing. Saying guns cause violence is like saying forks cause obesity. It's the same thing, right? Cars cause drunk drivers. It's the same train of thought. If you don't like guns, that's cool. I don't like liver. Right? So I don't eat it. You like guns? Don't have it. But sometimes a friend of mine named Tom Gibbons been around for a long time, former homicide detective, National PD, retired, and now he teaches firearms, one of the most prolific firearms instructors in the world, as a matter of fact. And somebody asked me one time, he says, Tom, why do you carry a gun? He said, man, he says, because I might have to shoot somebody today. That sounds like a joke, but it actually makes a lot of sense. So think about it. If you're in a situation where you need to have a gun, not having one is probably going to be a bad thing. Now, I carry one all the time. All the time. I hope I never have to use it. I really do. I want to shoot a gun. I don't get up every morning going, today's the day. I don't do that. But I'm prepared. Mentally, as physically as I can be, and tactically, try to keep myself together. So, all those things are options for me. Right? Natural weapons, we talk about. Oh, just punch a guy in the head. Well, punching people, and as a guy who's punched people in the head before, I will tell you that punching people with your fist in the head is not a good thing. Anybody hit a bowl before? Somebody there's hit a bowling ball. That's what your head is, right? A bowling ball. So next time you go to bowling alley, just go and punch the bowling ball. What do you think's going to happen? Nothing. I've seen more people hit the face and the head and not have any effect whatsoever. Oh, wait a minute. UFC, we see guys boxing and you get hit. But think about it. They get hit a bunch of times over a period of time. The street fight, if the street fight goes more than 20 seconds, you're probably going to lose. Okay? Because you can only produce 100% effort. Everybody in here has got a different, starts at a different level, but you can only produce 100% effort for about 22 seconds. After that, at 22 seconds, between 22 and 30 seconds, your ability to produce 100% effort falls off by about 50%. When somebody's trying to pound your head in mush, you don't want to be at 50%. So you need to get it done really fast. Okay? So, different strikes, there's a bunch of good stuff. Keep it simple. Hard weapons and soft targets, but punching people in the head does not work. Punching people in the body doesn't work. There's better targets and better ways to do business. Okay? Does it take a little bit of training? Yeah, that's not a big deal. That's not a big deal. So, soft targets. Right? So, inevitably, somebody says, "I was going to kick him in the groin." Come kick me in the groin. I'll get the first shot. What? I've been kicking the groin. It hurts like hell. Here I am. Everything still functions. Right, so, I don't know. Don't kick me in the knee. We'll not be friends. I will take you off my Christmas photos. The problem with these is that they're small targets. Okay? And the only way you can get to them is with a kid. If you're not a little bit skilled at doing that, put yourself in a bad position. Okay? I like the eyes and throat. Nobody protects the throat. Nobody protects the throat. I demonstrated this, 1,000 times, I guess. And people protect their head, but they're not going to protect their throat. I don't understand it. So that's why we have Throat Punch Thursday. Free shot. Okay? Eyes are good. All right. If nothing else, if you just flick something in somebody's eyes, they're going to recoil. Nobody wants to get poked in the eye. All right. So they're going to do this. If you can make them flinch, it gives you an opportunity to do some more stuff. So it's not going to be a one and done thing. You're not going to go up to somebody and go and do the Shaolin death touch or vibrating palm, and they're going to fall down in a quivering mass. It doesn't work like that. Human body is tremendously resilient. Right? So people say, "Oh, shoot him." Go ahead. Right? I've seen people shot multiple times with a realistic caliber handgun that were totally functional. And I mean, talking, walking around, everything was fine, except they were shot. Okay? I'll give you a really good example. Many years ago, South Carolina trooper, last name was Coates, stopped it out for Windsor Forest, just over the South Carolina border on 95. During the course of the traffic stop, Coates, who's about 6'4", about 225 pounds, sprayed on uniform, football player, former Marine. He was the epitome of a state trooper. Stopped this little fat guy, and had his hands in his pockets. And Coach said, "You don't have anything I need to be worried about." He goes, "No, man, I'm good." He says, "Well, you might want to pat you down." So he goes, pat him down, and got to fight. During the course of the scuffle, they wind up on the ground, and the guy gets up, and Coach is still on the ground. The guy gets up, and he's got a little North American Arms 22 Derringer. It's about that big, little 5-shot, single action Derringer. And he points at the Coach. The Coach goes, "Okay, he's armed with a .357 Magnum revolver, got a bulletproof vest on, and he stands up and says, 'Hey, man,' he says, 'we don't need to do this, we don't need to do this, let's do the blah, 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 blah,' and they get in another fight. Okay? And this time they go back down on the ground, and Coach winds up on top. He disengages, and as he's backing up, he grabs his radio with his left hand, and pulls his pistol, and he shoots this guy, a guy from here to the school, shoots at him 6 times. Hits him 5 in the chest. 5, .357 Magnum, 125 grain, jacket, hollow point holes. Okay? Oh no, Mr. Dill! So he hits him all 5 times. He hits him all 5 times, and during the course of that going on, dude shoots at him twice with his .22 22 pistols. One of them misses. Okay, one of them misses. The other one, goes right through his bicep, between his ballistic panels, clips his aorta.
No way.
I've seen it's on video, it's on dash cam video. I've seen it 100 times. He goes around the corner, he's calling for help, and you can hear him die on video. The guy that shot him is still in prison. 5 shots to the torso, 357 Magnum, 0 impact. I can tell you another dozen stories just like that. Right? Last shooting that I wrote was on January 1st, 2009, at 12:02 a.m. The precinct right around the corner over here, Mark Turner goes off, shooting on Carroll Street, which is right across the Vacant, north of Bay Street. So I'm like, oh man, here we go. So I pull around the corner and I look up and there's a woman in the street holding, as it turned out, her son. And get out of the car and walk up, no pulse. This week, right? So crime scene tape, ambulance gets there, they take him, put him in the back of the ambulance. All my guys get there, so all right, so turn around and paramedics jump out in the back of the ambulance. So I said, you guys taking him to the memorial? He said, yeah, you want to talk to him? I said, what? Yeah, he's up, he's conscious. I looked at the ambulance, he's sitting up on the ground. I said, dude, what happened? So what happened was, the drug deal got bad. He leaned in the car. The guy popped him with a 25 caliber pistol, hit him right between the eyes. Bullet penetrated the skin, hit his skull, followed his skull right over the top. Bullet came out, dropped his head, not even a drop of blood. Here's what made me mad. I'm glad he was okay, but he got home before I did that night. He was actually out of the hospital, he went to the hospital and got home before I actually got off work. All right. So shooting people doesn't always guarantee it. And about 80% of the time when people are shot with handgun rounds, they will continue doing whatever they were doing before they were shot. 80% of the time. Okay. So when we teach classes, we stress. So what's the 3 biggest rules in real estate? Come on. I fooled another group of realtors with this the other day, about 2 months ago. Location, location, location. Right? So same thing with a handgun. Okay? If I shoot you with a rifle, a little bit different. Shoot you with a shotgun, a little bit different. You can still wind up missing with both of those too. Pretty easy, but with a handgun, you got to be very specific. Okay? So, from a fitness standpoint, a lot of people poo-poo this. I think this is a big part of this. I try to stay in fairly decent condition, right? When I had my second hip done, I weighed 250 pounds. For me, my fighting weight for years and years was 185, so that was a big jump. So I started walking. All I did was walk, and I lost 50 pounds. Anybody here can walk, right? So fitness, being healthy, is always going to be a benefit to you in the fight. If you can last a little bit longer than the other guy, that's going to help. This a lot of times is lost on younger people because everybody that's like between 40 and 25, I guess, I get in that range. If you're that age, you're born and you never have to worry about any of that stuff. Oh, I got it. I'm good. Until it happens. Right? Stronger guys win fights. People that are in better condition win fights. Just simple stuff. But again, it does happen overnight, so you take little chunks. Eat the elephant a little bit at a time. Work on your stuff. Find out where your weaknesses are. Get better. Just get a little bit better tomorrow than you would today. Real simple. So, the fitness part of it is one thing. Hand-to-hand thing, again, a traditional martial arts instructor. I love it. Been doing it for a long time, but it doesn't work on the street. I'm the first one to tell you, it doesn't work. You do that on the street, you're going to get your ass kicked. I'm just going to tell you. That's going to happen, right? It's going to work like that, right? But what a lot of people don't understand is that traditional martial arts stuff is kind of like a repository, a catalog of all the stuff. So the techniques, I mean, you can only punch so many different ways. You know, I don't care if you stick your finger in my eye and you call it Krav Maga or you call it Shotokan Karate or whatever, it's still poking me in the eye, right? It doesn't make any difference. So find some place to go and get some training. Soft skills. And I think this is a big deal. I think this is one of the most important things around. And then your firearms stuff. So, I'm a firearms guy. So I've got business cards back here, so if you guys want one, please take them. finish up. We do all kinds of classes. Our facility that we use is 17 South Rocky Gun Club, which is just south of Richmond Hill. Beautiful facility out there. Folks, we have our own range that we use. These are some of our non-shooting classes. So these are all classes that we can come in and do in a small area. We use laser pistols like this pistol up front here. It's called a CERT, shotgun grade precision trigger. It's got a couple lasers on it. I can teach you how to shoot with that gun and take you out to the range, and people think you can shoot for years. We'll also show you all the things you do wrong. So there's a whole lot of stuff out there that's available to you that be real valuable from a standpoint, from a training standpoint. You don't have to go out to the range all the time and shoot live fire. You can do some other stuff that benefits you in the long term. So, closing up here, just going over a couple things real quick. So, back in 1978, I had 2 people die on me because I didn't know what to do. Died in my arms because I didn't know what to do. So I said, that's never going to happen again. So I enrolled in the EMT course. Back in 1979, Georgia had probably one of the hardest basic EMT courses in the country. Okay? And we were allowed to do a lot of things that only paramedics and other places were allowed to do. So I got that, and over the years, kept my training up, and we teach several classes on TDCC, Tactical Emergency Casualty Care, Stop the Bleed, we do all that training, and most of the people that work with me are the law enforcement folks. I got one guy that's a captain on the fire department, he's an EMT. I got another lady that works with me, and she's an orthopedic PA. So we got a bunch of medical folks on there, so we're really big into the medical side of it. Physical fitness thing, this health thing, if nothing else, you need to be fit, be healthy. Okay? Be healthy. It's okay. Get out and walk a little bit. No excuse, right? No excuses. Right? If you develop a plan, and you've got significant others or family, you need to let them know what the plan is. So my wife and I go out. It's got to, after 42 years being married, there's certain given things that happen. She's a license, she's got a weapons carry license that she carries as well, but not normally when I'm carrying. But if you've got kids and wife, what's the plan if something happens? Who takes the kids and runs? She do it? She got a gun? Do you have a gun? One of the things that was brought up in a program that I attended one time was, who's better suited to pick up 2 kids and run, the wife or you? I would say me. Right? Now she doesn't have a gun. There's one of those things you got to think through some of the stuff that we're talking about, because if you say you take the kids and you run, well, now she's got 2 kids, let's say a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old, that's like herding cats anyway, and it's a bad situation, so where's your mind going to be? Your mind's going to be on them and not on the problem that you've got to solve. So that plan has got to be understood by everybody involved, or potentially involved. At home, and always look around, figure out what's wrong with your house. I do security surveys for churches all the time, and you'd be amazed at what you find. Just walk around. And windows unlocked, doors unlocked, all that stuff. When you're in your home, how many of you, when you're inside your house, normal every day, keep all the doors locked? Smart move. Okay? Or when you're inside, if you have a perimeter alarm, you should check the perimeter alarm on. All that stuff, that's what it's for, right? Qualified instructors. There's a bunch of them out there. There's a bunch of guys out there that think they're qualified. They were in the military, or they were in the police department, they said, oh man, I know how to shoot, and we can't teach. And, a lot of times they went to one class, became an instructor, and they went, I'm an instructor. I spent over 100 hours in instructor level training this year alone, and I'm already signed up for stuff next year. I'm constantly updating my skills so I can transfer it over to students. Think about different options that you have available to you. You don't want to throw all your eggs in one basket. I don't need pepper spray, and I don't need this, and I don't need that. I got a gun. Again, that hammer syndrome will get you in trouble, because if that's all you have to fall back on, not going to be appropriate sometimes. since we have a pretty easily available crime stat both in the county and the city, I would advise you to go on there and find out what's going on around you. Now, as someone who actually used to contribute to all that stuff, I can tell you that I would look at it with a little bit of a jaundiced eye because as an administrator, I don't want my department to look bad like we're not doing stuff, so I'm not going to say that they cook the books. I'm just saying there's a possibility that the figures aren't 100% accurate. Okay? But generally, you'll see the trends in an area. We used to do a intelligence map. We used to call it a coffee stain map, where we would highlight certain crimes in certain areas, and they would show up as darker colors on the map. And inevitably, back in the day, this corner right here, and I cut my teeth on the west side, this corner right here was nothing but a big red blob. Okay? River Street before city market even got here, same thing. Right? So know where you're at, look at where you are on a daily basis at home, at work, twixt between, and kind of get an idea of what's going on. A lot of people don't buy a gun. They feel scared. I need to be safe. They want to buy a gun. They go buy a gun, might go to the range, shoot a couple rounds to it, put it in the sock drawer, and that's it. Never touch it again. I've got some really good deals. Really good deals. And my daddy gave me this gun back in 1966. Have you shot it? Nope. Okay. So, going to the range, we have indoor range here, quick shot. We got Palmetto State Armory, so you don't have to go out in the heat and wet and everything else. The range that I shoot on is not a public range, it's a private club, so it costs you money to join it and go out and use it. You use the range out of Kilkenny, which is a state-run thing, which you have no hunt license to get on there, and don't know all the stuff out there. But you need to keep training. There's stuff you can do. We can help you out with that. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm just telling you that information is available if you're interested. About doing dry fire at your home where you're not actually shooting, but you're getting a whole lot of repetitions. Now it's on you. Questions, comments, concerns? Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to hear your opinion on like this one. What about someone told me about this going back to the weapons, why you had a pepper spray or that stuff, that can opener, the old school one that has the round part, the pointy part, you can open ears, that can be used as a weapon.
Anything can be used as a weapon. Anything. Okay? If you just look around the room, there's a whole bunch of stuff I can kill you with in here. And it's not because of me. I'm just going to tell you, this thing right here, if this is what I have in my hand, that's what you're getting hit with.
So I own a pepper spray, and also I have a keychain, self-defense keychain, which is like it's a long cord, and it has a steel ball covered in the same cord. I was carrying that every time in New York City. I'm from New York City.
New York City?
Yeah, some of my friends, they have like the taser.
So let me tell you let's talk about that for just a quick second. So we talk about tasers. So stun guns. You hold it in your hand, you touch somebody. I think they're useless. Totally useless. Right? Because if I'm close enough to touch you, you're close enough to touch me. I don't want to get near you. That's the whole idea with a taser. I can shoot you 7, 8, 9 feet. But you say, well, it's got 30,000 volts, and all I got to do, if you're holding on to me, when I stick this on you, guess what? I get it. I get it too, okay? So I really don't recommend those things.
I have one more question.
Sure.
So how far the person has to be for me to use the pepper spray?
So, all right, so here's the thing. So this goes back to that environmental and situational awareness thing. So pepper spray, anything that you hold in your hand, with the exception of firearms, and even then, if I knew that there was a potential for me to have to shoot somebody, my gun would be in my hand, or my hand would be on my gun. I may not have it out, but my hand would be on my gun. Right? So pepper spray, Couboutons, stuff like that, even a knife, usually is pre-deployed. It's in my hand. before I need it, because it's never going to be where you think it's going to be. Most people, women, I'll pick on y'all for a second. You throw it in your pocketbook. All of a sudden, now you need it. Now what are you going to do? Guys will say, I'll put it in my pocket. It's like pocket pistols. Guys will get a small pistol and put it in their pocket. Well, it doesn't have a holster. What's going to happen to it? It's going to move around, and you're going to be grabbing the business end of it. And under stress, it just goes on the hell in a handbasket really fast. Right? So there's some things that over a period of time, we hear, we see it. Somebody told me, I had a friend, he was in the military, he was a cop, whatever, and that's all crap. Okay? Because most cops aren't gun guys. Most cops don't carry their gun off duty. They're not gun guys. How do I know that? I've trained them for a long time. The military say what? They can't shoot. Trust me, I'm telling you, they can't shoot. Right? It's a sad state, but that's the way it goes. And when I'm talking about can't shoot, I'm talking about in a normal sense of what you would probably encounter in a self-defense situation, not any kind of high-speed stuff. Combat rolls coming up, one hand, John Wick stuff. That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Right? So it's a little bit more sedate, but skills are there. And you've got to get some basic skills. But as far as being close with pepper spray, remember, it will affect you the same way it affects the bad guy. So I want to say 5 or 6 feet at a minimum to keep them away from it. And I prefer the spray, the stream, as opposed to the mist. Because I can aim it. I can see it a little bit better. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
More comment to some of the things that you're saying. So one of the things that I've been taught that I share with my girlfriend is you got your keys on you, right? So you just put the longest key in between your two middle fingers, like once you walk around with it. I mean, you stay vigilant in that way, especially if you're walking by yourself. That's something that I like.
Okay, so I'm glad you brought that up. I was going to say, so I'm going to tell you this. Everybody that gives that piece of advice, I tell them this. Go home, put your keys between your fingers, put one key between each gap in your finger, and hit something with it. I dare you. You're going to hurt your hand, okay? If you hit me with it, you're probably not going to be able to hit me hard enough to make that worth your while. Now, having said that, if you don't have anything but a keychain, I hate this thing. I could club somebody with it now if I wanted to, but before I had a big old long key. But if I had nothing but a key in my hand, that's how I would hold it right there. And crook my forefinger, about half an inch of it right there. Now, if somebody reaches up and grabs you, or you're not going to stop them, but I will tell you that if you reach up and grab me, I stick this under your arm and I scrape it as hard as I can. When I say scrape it as hard as I can, I mean or stick it on the side of your neck or your face and scrape it down, you're going to let go. Whatever, whatever it takes. But that's just get you started. The idea for most of this stuff is to create distance, create a gap, so you can improve your position. Military guys know what I'm talking. You're always going to improve your defensive position. So if I can create some distance, right, then I can pick up a chair. I can pick up something else that I can use as a weapon, or maybe get access to my gun. Because if I'm in close with somebody, I may need to shoot him, but I may not be able to get to my gun because I've got my hands tied up. There's a whole lot of things that people don't consider. Again, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. So it's a little bit more complicated, but it's not that hard once you kind of start being a little bit objective about what you're doing. But but again, the longer my old truck key was really nice because it was really long. I could really use it for something. But you got to be a little bit more cerebral when you start thinking about what you're going to use for self-defense. How you're going to do that? What's going to be the impact? Right? If you make me mad, it just gets worse. Right? But you got to fight. Right? Anything else? Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
So I used to box, and my rule of thumb was to do something that once that arm is like you're susceptible to get hit for self-defense, right? So my rule of thumb is always boxing to me is always the best. The street defense, the self-defense situation. What do you believe is the best? Let's say martial art. Let's say you get in a situation where there's nothing around, it's just you and that person. It's just, of course, body to body. Man, what do you think is the best?
Yes.
Boxing.
Whatever. So it doesn't make any difference. Here's what I'll tell you. I studied one system, got a black belt in one system early on, and then my current instructor, and I've been with him forever and ever, so I learned another system. And studied a whole bunch of other ones. I've been just doing research on combatives and self-defense and all this other stuff. But here's what I find. Bruce Lee said it best. A punch is a punch and a kick is a kick. It doesn't make any difference. If it's Krav Maga, or Shotokan, or Shurinu, or Kung Fu, or whatever, it doesn't make any difference. Right? It's all in how you apply it. So you got a lot of guys, like I said earlier, teaching traditional martial arts, and that's great. It's a great exercise. It's a great mind builder thing. It's got all kinds of benefits to it. But if you try and use it the way traditional martial arts are generally taught in most schools now, you're going to lose the fight. I'm just going to tell you, it's not. They don't gear it toward combat. And some of the old Okinawa masters said karate should never be made a sport. So what you see, again, I get stuff every day. These guys doing what they call sport karate, and they're out there tipping and tapping. I'll take one of them kicks in the face all day long. When I thought back, they used to call it the blood and guts era in the 70s and early 80s. No pads. And as a black belt, I was a 16-year-old black belt, so I got thrown in the mix pretty fast. But you hit each other pretty hard, right? And then they come along with these little foamy things, and guess what? They said, okay, now we can hit each other, and we won't cut each other. Boom! We started punching each other really hard then, right? And then we got into the full contact thing, and on and on and on. But then people got away from that because people didn't get hurt. It wasn't that. I mean, people get popped in the face, but they would think that they could do these little flippy showman type kicks and punches, and they could fight. You know as well as I do. You start throwing little hesitating jabs at somebody, they're going to come right through that eventually, and eat you up. So keep your distance is good. Distance is always your friend. All right. More distance you put between you and your attacker is always good, generally, and gives you time to think and make other plans.
We're all real estate investors, so we tend to be in the roughest properties and the roughest areas because that's where the deals are. And I'm in them. Probably. I've bought a few crime scenes in my day, but yeah, I'm in them personally alone a good bit, and so. What is your suggestion for that situation?
Don't be there. So that's my suggestion. Okay, and so my wife been a nurse for a long time, and one of her jobs over the years was she used to do home health care, so she would visit.
Yeah.
And I was still working for Savannah. I was on the street, and she would call me up, and she goes, "Hey, I got to go over to so and so and so and so. What is that area like?" I said, "I'll be over there in a minute." Okay. So she was real lucky. She's from Savannah. We had property on Rommel Avenue. So somebody said that Rommel Avenue earlier. We did. That's where she used to live. My wife used to live on Rommel Avenue. House is gone, but that's where she used to live. And so she came up, a little bit of a redneck, all right, in Savannah, and so she's not scared of much. And she's tall and take care of herself. But she was always real aware of what was going on, and now she's still out and about. Back in the day, she didn't carry a gun. Now she carries a gun, and she just was aware of what was going on around her all the time. If it didn't look right, get back in the car and leave. Make sure you call people, let people know where you are. All that stuff that seems so much like a pain in the butt will really help you out. But if it doesn't feel right, chances are it's not. We didn't survive as a species because we didn't listen to our survival instinct. Right? So think about that. How many times have you said, it doesn't look right. I'm going over there anyway. I'm just being silly. I don't know. Riding the street for a long time, I'd see something that didn't look right. I was on the radio, hey, send me another unit over here. Because I could, right? You might not have that ability, but you can always leave. If it doesn't feel right, ladies, and this is just pointing my finger right at y'all. You all have this feminine intuition thing, mothering instinct, whatever you want to call it. It works. It's 100% reliable. 100%. Okay? I know for a fact, over a period of time, men have to kind of develop that for whatever reason. We're not as good at it as y'all are. We have to develop that. But now I can tell you, I can look at something and go, nope, I'm going over there. Right? Just avoid it. Sometimes you can't, but you can always call somebody.
Follow-up question. I was just in one the other day. Do I leave the door open and unlocked when I go in, or do I lock the door behind me when I go in?
So, one of my instructors and mentors would say, answer the question, yes, no, maybe. It all depends. Okay? How do you feel? Right? So, there are a lot of things from a tactical standpoint. If I were to go in a house with somebody that I don't know, they would go in before me. Okay? And they would never get between me and the door that I need to go get out. Right? And I wouldn't lock the door if I was in there with somebody. Now, if I'm in there by myself, whole different ballgame. Okay? So, you think about what you're doing and what the circumstances are, because it makes a difference. But those things, like a gentleman will hold the door open for a woman normally, right? And you go, oh, thank you. And you go in, and now he's behind you, and he's between you and the door. No. Figure it out. Figure out a way that somebody's going to walk in before you, and you're going to be able to, if you need to exit, you can get out. Right? Those are all things you have to think about. Now, I'm not advocating being paranoid. I don't go around, you didn't see me look under all the tables when I came in here and all that stuff, right? I'm not paranoid. But you got to be prepared. So when I looked up where this was, I wasn't sure where 223 was. So I said, oh, Turner, I'm sorry, exactly where that is. So in my mind, when I leave here, I have my briefcase. Trust me when I tell you, I'll be on high alert when I walk out of this building. Now, do I have to be? I don't know. There's a bunch of people walking by out here, and they're all out having dinner and all that stuff. Good on them. Okay? Because that's where the bad guys are looking for the easy targets. And I try and look like not like an easy target. Okay? So just you have to kind of think through all that stuff. There's a lot of stuff to be thinking about. It's not hard, just some things you have to be kind of aware of. Anybody else? Anything at all?
You said something interesting.
I did?
Easy target, tough, easy target, right? So, just like the lady was saying, go inside the house. And I know for me personally, if I'm going in the neighborhood that I don't know anybody, I'm kind of look at people in the eye to show that I don't have any feet. I think that helps most of the people now. We're going to look at it. This is the target. So, what do you think are good options for people to not become target?
So you've got to hit on most of it. When you walk around, keep your head up. Stay off your cell phone. Look like you know what you're doing. Right? I was in the Marine Corps. I got in trouble one time. A gunnery sergeant asked me, "What are you doing, Lebowski?" Well, he didn't call me Lebowski. "Steve, what are you doing?" Nothing. Daddy, I said, "Come over here." So come here. So sergeant happened to see that. Call me over to the He says, "I know. There are times when we have a little bit of a slow down, there's not a lot to do, but here's what I'll make it easy on you. Go get your clipboard, a screwdriver, a piece of paper. Put a piece of paper on a clipboard, walk around, when you're not doing anything, carry that with you all the time. Nobody's ever going to stop you." You know what? He's right. Did it for years. Right? And I told my wife that, and she said, that works. I said, yeah, I know it works. People think you're busy doing something, so look like you know what you're doing. Right? And if not, think, right? Be aware, look around, and be careful. It's okay to be cautious, it's not a big deal. Nobody's going to think you're silly. I'm not going to think you're silly. Anything else? I appreciate it. If you need, that's my information. I got
Thank you so much.
That's all right. Told you I could project. Everybody thought I was on right.
I think the main box is wrong.
Thank y'all for coming. I hope you enjoyed this. I did want to make one announcement. We do have a sponsor that's on your table that's not. Well, Chip is here. Chip, where are you? Right here. We have one of our lenders here. If anyone's looking for lending, please talk to Chip. We have another sponsor there. But also JRMB and JR is a general contractor. I have personally used them. I have nothing to gain telling you this. It's just they sponsor us, and I'm going to shout them out. They do great work, and they're good people. But they have a big family issue. So if anyone contacted them after the last meetup, this is a legitimate family issue that you don't want to know about. It's terrible. But give them a break, but they're fantastic. But he told me the other day, he said, we're going to be backed up about 2 weeks on our jobs because of this significant family issue. So I just want to give you a heads up that they are fantastic. I cannot even say highly enough how much I recommend them. I recommended them to my clients, and they've also been very happy. So please thank our sponsors and use them if you're looking. And next month, do you know the date off the top of your head, Susan? I don't have
November
it.
16th.
November 16th is our next meetup. We're going to be back at Java Burrito. We're going to be doing goal setting for 2024. You guys, 2024 is going to be a good year. I don't know what's going to happen, but I know it's going to be a good year. But we need to set up our goals. We're talking about goals tonight. So we're going to get set up for that. So we'll see you guys next month. And we have about another 40 minutes, so please stay and please talk to someone you haven't talked to yet. There are some amazing people in this room. We have 2 architects over here. If anybody needs an architect, we have some really cool talent in this room. So anyway, thank you so much for coming. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.